Hello beautiful and welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video where we are going to talk about these. These are the new palettes by Give Me Glow. I bought both of the Nightlife palettes and we are going to try them out. I'm going to swatch them. I'm going to let you know what I think about them. I'm going to create two different looks, one with each palette. And this is the first time that I'm trying Give Me Glow. And I'm actually very excited to be trying this brand because I feel like it's a pretty hyped up indie brand that I've never tried. And if you haven't been here before, hello, my name is Angie. I'm such a lover of beauty makeup. I love everything beauty makeup related, especially things that are from indie brands that are a little bit more colorful. So for me to try the new indie brand and the indie brand that is pretty hyped up, this is a big deal for me. This is a big day for me. And if you want to see more of that on your timeline, don't forget to subscribe because I upload several videos every week. So I did buy both of these palettes. They also come with beautiful sleeves. So they have like sleeves that look exactly the same. I bought both of these at release and they arrived when I was in New York. So I'm sitting down to play with them today. These are singles in a palette. That's what I wanted to say. These are singles in a palette and you put them in yourself. This is how I put in this one. And these are $45 each. And you can, this have a mirror, but you can buy these singles individually or you can buy the palette empty if you just want to have the palette and put your own singles in there. But I decided to buy the full bundle. I will say though that in this bundle, one was missing. So I didn't get another shade that's in here. And I'll put the picture up here where you can see what the palette actually looks like because there's supposed to be a purple matte in here as well. It's called, I think, I'm with the DJ. So my palette doesn't have that one. And you can also see probably here that this one looks a little weird and it's because it came a little bit cracked, but this is a shimmer. So for me, it was super easy to press down again. I just used a little alcohol and I pressed it down and so far it's staying in here. I did contact customer service, of course, because one of my shadows was missing. Let me show you swatches while I talk about my customer service experience. So I did email customer service and they came back to me super quickly and they were like apologizing for one of my shades missing and one of my shades coming broken, and I said that I was able to fix this shade myself, but apparently this is a problem that they have been having with this particular shade, and the shade that they have had some problems with cracking or shattering is Rave Princess. So they have decided that they are gonna get rid of Rave Princess and they are gonna have another shade in this palette instead because it's apparently from what I gathered from the mail that I got, that this shadow was more unstable when pressing it than they had anticipated. So a lot of people have experienced that it has come shattered. If you order this palette or if you order that shadow and it comes shattered, I can let you know right now that I could easily repress it again with some alcohol, and I just used a little tissue paper on top and just pressed it down. That's what I did, and so far mine is holding on quite good, but I wouldn't travel with the shade. Let me just put it like that. But customer service came back to me and they were basically like, we're so happy that you were able to press it together, but we'll still send you the replacement shadow. And the replacement shadow is called Jellyfish. I haven't even looked at how that one looks. Wait, let me actually Google so I can see myself. I'll put it up here on the side so you can see what it looks like, but I actually have no idea. Now that I'm looking at it, Jellyfish looks to be like a more orchid purple with some blue, maybe a blue shift or something. I have no idea, but I'm excited to get it. I'll see which one I include in my palette, but I'm very grateful for the customer service that I got. Like I said, these are $45 each for a palette, and even though the pans are quite big, you know, for me, I prefer if a pan was smaller. I still feel like this all looks very beautiful. Some of these shades are existing shades and some of these shades are new shades, and that's why they're selling them in singles as well. If you already had some of these shades and you just wanted maybe to get the empty palette and just add in the new ones. I also did buy a blush. Oh, here it is. I did buy one of the Dream blushes. This is a pressed powder blush and I got it in Hey Honey. I also wanted to get the liquid lipstick in, I think it's called Whiskey, which is like a yellow, like a muted ochre, but that was, well, basically it's this color. Because I love colors like this, like really grungy, yellowy, orangey browns. I love the colors like this, but Whiskey was sold out, so I couldn't get it. This looks like a standard matte compact, if I'm gonna be honest. So this is a matte blush, and it is in Hey Honey, so I am gonna zoom in, and I'm gonna apply that one as well. I do have like foundation and concealer and powder and lipstick on, and all of that is gonna be in the description box. I always link Everything that I'm wearing, everything that I'm talking about, all the info to my merch, to my other socials, my vlog channel, all of that is always in the description box. So don't forget to check the description box if you're wondering about anything. So yeah, I just wanted to share my customer service story and some swatches before we get into it. You've seen the swatches, but I actually haven't filmed the swatches as I'm sitting down to film this now because I wanted this to be a true first impression. But let's zoom in and let's start with the blush. And I think we're gonna start with this palette. The one that's like the orangey, yellowy, pinky red. So many fun colors because I was wearing this red lipstick. I love this red lipstick, by the way. So I thought we'd wear that one. Okay, let's zoom in, let's go. This is the Hey Honey shade, and it is a really nice, like, yellowy, orangey. Picks up really nice, maybe not that much. This is a matte one, and I don't have any... Ooh, I feel like this is maybe one of the more pigmented blush formulas, so I should really go in a little bit lighter. But this is all matte, and I do not have a highlighter on right now. So I just wanted to see how this one looked on without any shimmer first. It's very pigmented, so I feel like this would probably show up on a skin tone that is darker than mine as well. I am wearing a foundation in a light medium today. That is really pretty, but maybe more pigmented than I prefer. I prefer something that is not this pigmented when it comes to blushes, because I feel like sometimes it just can get a little overboard. I'm just gonna go over with a little bit of just pressed powder on the edges because I don't want it to look too intense. I don't mind a visible blush, but I also don't want it to be too crazy. I feel like that is a lot better for my liking. Like, I want to try as many as possible, and I want to see how the formula is. So should we do... I want to do this in the outer corner. I feel like that is like a given. So let's start with that, maybe. And I don't really know the shade names because they're like underneath, but I'm only going to be using the shades from this Nightlife Coral palette. So I'm just putting this like orangey red. It's like a tomato red, and I'm just putting that out here. I can tell you right now from just picking it up and how it feels when I apply it that I think that this is one of those formulas that is very pigmented but pretty dry. So I wonder how this is gonna layer. Let's see if we can layer some shadows in the next look and not start with the darkest shade, just to see how this layer, because I feel like this is a little bit more of a drier formula. But I am gonna put this one in the outer part of the crease, maybe a little bit in here as well. I'm just gonna blend a little bit on the edge with this one, and then we'll go in with the one that is like a yellowy orange, which is my absolute favorite. You know how much I love shades like that. I'm not too concerned about blending this to perfection because we are gonna go over with something else. But I feel like I blended it enough. I blended it enough. I'm gonna use a brush that looks like this. It is a little pinched on the side. I feel like those are perfect, the fluffy ones, to blend, like, if you want to blend on the edge but still get pigment. I love shadow, like brushes like that. So we're gonna use this one that's like a orangey, yellowy orange. And I am putting that on, and I am gonna blend on the edge with this one, and I'm also gonna put this one in the inner part of the crease. Oh, I love a shadow like that. Just to get the little orangey going here. That is a really nice shadow. Almost a little bit, I don't want to say neon-y, but there's definitely a neon-y element because it's so bright. So I'm just blending on the edge with this brush, small circular motions and back and forth, just to get a good gradient going. And I'll probably reapply some of the red afterwards. But yeah, I will say, these shadows are very pigmented, but they are a little bit on the not super blendable side. I will say go in with a little and blend as you go, because they really do stick to the primer. I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, look at the pigmentation. They look great. But I'm just letting you know how I feel about the formula. I don't think that this is one of those formulas that will do well with the super big sweeping motions. I think it will stick to the primer and be done. Maybe this is a formula that will work better on a set primer. I have a few formulas like that actually work better on a set primer. Kind of wondering if this is going to be one of those because of the more drier consistency. I am really liking how this is looking. I think it looks really, really good. I mean, it looks great. So I think I want to play with the bright like fuchsia pink on the lower lash line and maybe blend it out with this one, because I think that this one would have worked better with the purple that's missing here. So I think we're going to use these two mattes on the lower lash line. I feel like that is going to be what's going on. Oh, and I did powder my lower lash line. So maybe we can see if I feel like there's a difference going over a base that's not like tacky, that's set. If I feel like there's a difference. It still goes on very, very pigmented. And now I'm just going in with a little bit of that lighter color. Ooh, and I'm getting some fallout. And I'm just gonna put that underneath and a little bit in here. And just blend those together. Those are really, really good colors. I feel like they show up as pigmented on a base that's not tacky either. So that's really good to know, especially if you're the person that really likes to set your base. Then this could be a really nice pigmented formula, because I feel like a lot of formulas actually do not work as good on a set base as they do on an unset base. So I think I'm gonna use this one that's a little bit more of a yellowy orange coral, and I want to use the bright yellow shimmer here. So I think I'm gonna use those two. Let me just swatch those. Oh, I love that. So I want to use the orange here. I think I'm just gonna plop this on like this. Yeah. That's actually going to be really good, and it has a nice orangey base and almost like a green yellow shift. And when I look at it like this, it's almost a multi-chrome because there's almost like a little blue in here as well with the pinky base. It's a very interesting shade with a lot more dimension than meets the eye. And then I think I'm going to put the yellow in here. Wow, this is not as high shine as the other one, but it's very, very pigmented, and I feel like this is more maybe like a shimmer. But that looks so nice though. Oh, I love that. Look at that. Wow. I put some mascara on, and I think I'm gonna do pink in my waterline. This is the number 1 from Oden's eye. I will link it down below. I think this is gonna be perfect in the waterline. I also think I want to use a little bit of this Rave Princess, the one that came a little broken. I think this is a pink with a little bit of a almost pink / lime green sheen. And I want to try a little bit of that. Do I have a pencil brush? I do. And I'm going to spray it, and we're going to try a little bit of that. Not like in my inner corner, because I don't want to have anything here in this look. But I would like to have something maybe under here. I know, very oddly specific. Oddly specific. Oh, maybe I pressed this a little bit too hard, because that's super easy to pick it up. Oops, that could be me pressing a little bit too hard. But let's put that here. I just want to have a little bit. Well, I should maybe have had an even smaller brush. That didn't do much, but here we are. I do love the look though. I think the look is super cool and vibrant and fun. In the next look, I will try and begin with the lighter one and build on top. So the first look with the Nightlife Coral palette is done, and I love this look. I love warm colors, and I love bright colors and bright warm colors. It's really up my alley, and I think that this looks amazing, and I love that I picked this lipstick with it as well. This lipstick is a new favorite of mine. So yeah, so far I really like it. Oh wait, I didn't put on a highlighter. I actually brought out a highlighter. I'm just gonna put on a little bit of the Jacqueline putty highlighter, because I didn't want to put on the highlighter before I put on the blush because it was a matte blush. But let me just get a little bit of highlighter going. And with a little bit, I mean a lot. You know how people are over the over-highlighted cheek? Not me. I'm not people. So let's dive into the next look, which is going to be with the blue-green palette, which is a color scheme that I'm really enjoying because it is a blue-green palette with a pop of yellow, which is really up my alley. Personally, I probably would put the yellow shimmer from this one in that palette because that would make it a perfect color scheme for me. Might do that in the future if we're gonna be totally honest. But yeah, let's jump into look number 2 and let's see what I think about those colors. I am very, very intrigued. And immediately when I saw this palette being revealed, I was like, I want this. I really want this. And I'm happy I bought it. I don't think I'll be able to use all of these, but listen, I'll make it an effort. I'll make an effort. I'm gonna start with, I think, all 3 of these blues in my outer corner. And I'm gonna start with a lighter one on a bigger, fluffier brush. And we'll put that out here. And I'm gonna do blue, green, yellow. Should I do the more minty greens on the lower lash line then? Because then I will have truly, truly done everything. And we can do the shimmers on the lid. Almost had an all matte look. Almost. I will say it is very pigmented and I still need to try these mattes on a set base. That is something that I'm gonna do, of course, but that is something that I am determined to do before I review this because I can already see, you can see when it touches the tacky base, it turns a little darker, and here, where it's still dry, it is just a little lighter. So I do think that this is a formula that probably benefits from that. I will try that before I review it so I can give a proper review of this formula. Of course, since this is a formula that I've never tried before, I need to try it a little bit more before I give my final verdict. So I'm taking the second 2 darkest, well, the middle then. Wow, look at me. And that is that cat hair? I don't know. But I am gonna see what happens if I pop this on top. That's nice. This one has a little bit more of a true blue undertone. Or maybe it's because it was mixing with my primer. I was gonna say it was a little bit more of the turquoise, but it could be because it was mixing with my primer. You can see here, it darkens a little bit when it mixes with the primer, and I think that's because the formula is a little bit more on the drier side. But it's still pigmented, it's still good. I just need to try this again. It definitely layers on top of the other shadow and it's still very opaque. The true test will be now if we are able to layer a 3rd matte on top of this. So far we have used these 2 and we are going to use this one now that is a little darker, and I'm going to put that on a smaller brush and we're just going to see how this works when we use that in the outer corner. Oh, something is itching. So we're just gonna blend and see if we can build. I do think that we can build and blend. I don't know if these shadows are different enough from each other, or maybe it's because they are mixing together to one on the eye. And yeah, you can definitely see the darker rim here of it mixing with the primer. So yeah, I definitely think that set your primer before you use these shadows, otherwise they will darken up where they come in contact with the primer, which is not how most eyeshadows will behave. But I'm gonna deepen this up a little bit. And we'll see where we end up. Did I need to use 3 shadows to get this? No. And I honestly think it looked like I used 1. So I'm using the lighter of the green now, and I'm gonna pop that here. I will say I prefer I can already tell you that I prefer the other mattes over these blue. I don't love how this is looking. I mean, you can see. You can see. Can you see? This is looking patchy. It deepened up at the end here. Not loving that. Maybe I can blend over with a darker blue. Okay. When in doubt, go in and blend with something that you have and love. Not that I hate it, it's not my preferred formula. It reminds me a little bit of some of the mattes that Melt can have sometimes. They're a little bit harder to work with, that are like very pigmented but a little drier. I'm taking some of the darker green now and I'm gonna pop that just here in the crease part. This is the yellowy matte and I am just gonna push that into the, you can really see here before it deepens up like how it looks, and then it just deepens up with the primer. But I'm gonna put that here in the inner part and I'll do the 2 mints afterwards and we'll end with the shimmers. I like this yellow though. This is a really nice pigmented yellow. So this is the lighter of the mints. Yeah, I think I prefer these when they're a little bit over a more powdered base. Because look at how pretty that looks and it didn't deepen up at all. Okay, I have decided. So this is the darker cool tone green and we're gonna see if we can just push that closest to the lash line. Is it a big difference between these two? I don't know if I don't know. Maybe there is. The more I look at this, I'm like, maybe I would have wanted something that is even darker than this. Maybe that is what I'm missing. But let me use the darker of the shimmers. And I think I'm gonna spray it because I did get some fallout from the shimmers with the other looks. I'm gonna spray it and I'm gonna, ooh, that is so pretty. I'm gonna put this dark one on the outer half of the lid. And then we'll do the lighter blue. It is a little, I think you can see, it's a little flaky on the brush. So I really do think that you kind of either need to use a sponge applicator or spray your brush or use your finger. Otherwise, I think you're gonna have a hard time getting this to stick. I'm having a hard time getting it to stick anyways. Yeah, this one was especially flaky. Interesting. I like the look. I think it's really pretty. I do want something that's a little darker out here because I feel like it, I don't know what I feel about this blue area. I'm not sure how I feel about this blue area here. I feel like that's the part where I'm like, how do I feel about? Because the other ones I feel are really nice, even the cool tone greens here. But maybe when you get the shadows on top of each other, I feel like they blend together to one. Maybe that's how I feel. Like there's no difference between the blue shadows anymore. It's just one blue. It's just one green. It's just one mint. They become one. You don't do a gradient anymore. They just merge into one shadow. And I could probably see it more in the other look because I started with one shadow and didn't blend upon. There's something that's leaving me that I need to try these, of course, more. But there's something about this formula that's a little hard for me to grasp. Like, what is it about it? Don't hate it. I also don't like love it. Like love. I think I'm gonna use just a little bit of Rebirth from my palette with Oden's Eye. I have a bunch of brushes here in front of me. That's what you're hearing. And I'm looking for my pencil brush and I seem to have misplaced it. Hello? I'm just gonna do a little bit of Rebirth here to tie the yellow together. There wasn't really a shadow that worked for my inner corner. At least not in this palette. So I'm just grabbing something. I mean, technically you can do whatever or skip an inner corner, but I mean, I love my palette, so obviously I'm gonna reach for that one. I'm gonna see if I can find something dark blue as well for the outer corner, but let me do some mascara and something in the waterline, and let me go hunting for something dark blue. Okay. I put some like teal in my waterline. I wanted something that was like a cool tone green. I don't really know if I had that. This is Makeup Geek's Ultramarine. This is discontinued, so unfortunately I won't be able to link it, but I just wanted something that was like a little cool toned. Listen, I'm going into my tried and true. This is the Passion in Paris by BH Cosmetics. And a lot of people are asking me when is BH Cosmetics coming back. They said August. I don't know what they're doing. They said August. We're going to be using this one in the corner here. It is called Mont Mat. So we are going to be using that one on the same small brush. And we're just going to be using a little bit of that out here, just to differentiate, is that the word, differentiate, between the colors a bit, so we can get some kind of an ombre going in. I feel like this is gonna make it not look as weird, right? That looks better already. I love this palette. This palette was my best palette of last year, if we don't count my own palette, of course, with Kaleidos. And yeah, I'm super excited to see them come back. I was kind of hoping that we were gonna have something equally as dark or as... I mean, this is a really easy shadow to blend. And I think you can see the difference with how this just looks a little weird and patchy with this lightness and the dark edge. And this one just looks a little bit more cohesive. So yeah, this is what the look's gonna look like. I love green, yellow, and blue together, so I think this is beautiful. Just wasn't 1,000,000% happy with how the blues looked when you blended them on top of each other, but this is gonna be the look. Let me finish it up and we can have a final chat about these two palettes. I mean, I think she cleaned up. She cleaned up pretty good. I like how she looks. I do prefer the coral one over the blue one. Do I like this color story more as well? Maybe. I've been really gravitating, even though this one is missing a shadow even, but I've been really gravitating towards the warm shadows lately. Like, it's just been what I've really been enjoying. I've really been enjoying the warm shadows, and I feel like I had less issues working with this palette. Not that I had issues working. Not that I had issues working with this palette, but I did notice, and you saw that, a couple of problems with the blues. And I also feel like when I try to blend the darker green on top of the lighter green and the darker blue on top of the lighter blue, it did end up being one. And now it is a darker here and you have a little gradient, but that is thanks to the Passion in Paris. I like this look. I like this look. I like what I was able to do with it. Did I need these shadows to do it? No. I will try and use these again on a set primer and I will see how I feel about them. I feel like Give Me Glow's formula is so many people's favorite indie formula. And right now, I think it's okay. I like it. It's not my favorite, most user-friendly formula. It's very pigmented, but it's a little tricky to make gradients with, at least so far. Not that it's impossible, not that it's a bad formula. Maybe I had too high expectations. I don't know. It looks good though, but I mean, you can see it's not perfect. Perfect, but it's nice. I'm gonna of course give these palettes a little bit more try. I really like the blush. I think that the blush looks beautiful, and my preferred palette out of these two is the coral one. Let me know what you think about the Give Me Glow formula. Let me know what you think about these. I didn't dislike them. I just am not as blown away as I thought I was gonna be. Maybe my expectations were a little too high and that happens sometimes with things. I'm gonna be honest, it happened to me more than on one occasion, but I will of course report back to you on what I feel about this product a little bit more further into the future. I always try and use products a little bit more behind the scenes just so I can form a full opinion on them, especially when it's a brand or formula that I haven't tried before. And I do a review roundup ranking kind of a thing, usually about a month later, depending on how long it takes for me to form an opinion about the product. But yeah, give me your thoughts down below. Did you pick up this release? Is this your favorite formula? Do you have any tips on how you like to use the Give Me Glow formula? And yeah, don't forget to subscribe as well, and I will see you again tomorrow for a new video. Bye!